Everything around us changes so rapidly that we really cannot keep track of it. There's a reason why we say the future is unwritten, right? If everything changes so rapidly, how can we really stick to one single future? When we think about the concept change, we usually talk about the most visible ones. Losing a job, winning an award, passing a test, or failing a test. But while we're busy talking about these type of changes, we usually tend to disregard the most silent, but perhaps the most difficult type of change, the change in people. Sometimes you realize that the exact person that was sitting across you is not the same person anymore. And even harder, you realize that neither is a relationship. Has any of you went to a change like this recently? Can they raise their hands? Yeah, okay. Well, I've also recently went through a similar change. The jar you see here was a gift to me from a person that I knew dearly, and I also brought it to you today. This jar contains 100 handwritten notes why I'm loved, all of them one by one. What a gift, right? But me and this person do not talk anymore. It wasn't explosive, it wasn't dramatic, it was simply different. We'd grown in ways that no longer aligned. And as you can guess, at first, the jar felt really heavy. And I don't mean only physically, but also emotionally. It became a symbol of something that I've lost, something that I just wanted to work out so much, but it still didn't, because I couldn't stop the change coming through. It was a reminder of a future that would never come to pass. And I was really sad about the situation. Because when I looked at the jar, it reminded me of memories rather than just pieces of paper. It reminded me of the efforts that I put in that are just now in vain. But think of a second, and you will realize that this does not sound so far, right? Because you probably also went through a similar situation. But science is here to explain why. The American Psychology Institute states that loving is a neuroevolutionary process. This means that every person who has existed on this earth has loved at least once. It is such an inherent part of us that when we love, we don't only love people with our soul, but our body also reacts to it. When we love someone, our body releases oxytocin and dopamine, which are the hormones for reward pathways, which probably explains why letting go is this hard. But funny enough, if every person has loved at least once in their lifetime, this also means that every person who has existed on this earth has experienced a breakup at least once too. But science is great to explain what's happening behind the scenes, but I want to look at it from a different perspective. When we love someone, we don't only put effort into loving that person. We put in effort to think of this future where this person will accompany us. A version of future that we hope that is truly the right one and that will become our reality. But the future is unwritten. And when that change comes, you're just there. That person is not there with you anymore. And it really feels very isolating and sad. And when I was also left in this situation, I was obviously very upset, but I realized that something stayed with me too. That annoying glass jar that I couldn't resist staring at, even though it hurted me. But when I look at it now, after realizing that that person is no longer with me and that future will never become reality, that glass of jar became a mirror. It became more than a symbol of loss, but it became a mirror of my qualities. Those notes describe the qualities of me. How I passionately talk about ideas, how I laugh out too loudly, how I'm determined, how I'm very patient. And I realized that those qualities were never owned by this relationship at the first place. They were my qualities. They were owned by me. And no matter how annoying it came, I realized that the jar still stayed with me. And science also comes here to back up my point. When we go through a breakup, and I don't mean always romantically, and when we lose someone, we usually experience this lose of sense and lose of self. Because we imagine that future so much that we really can't think of anything else. And we believe that that future should work out. And if that future does not work, we should just regret how much we gave and how much we loved. But that is simply not true. Today, with you, I am facing this symbol of loss and when you think of me, I'm not the most extroverted person you will meet, and you may wonder, why are you facing your traumas on the stage? Which you might be correct, but I decided that this jar sat in that drawer for too long. And science, again, says that to handle a breakup, you should grow. That is the best way. No matter how much ice cream you eat, it won't fix it. You have to grow out of it. If we never grew, and if the future was really fixed, we would never outgrow our old dreams. We would never find new paths to walk. We would never love new people. We would never love more, and we would never grow more. And when we're loving, we usually think that sometimes it is a waste of time, right? Because not every love works out. And when we lose that person we're loving, we usually get told that we're vulnerable. Loving is a vulnerability. If you seriously lose this person you loved, you should just regret it. But is it really true? And, that annoying jar again is sitting in my room still. And after thinking about this jar for too long and realizing that this jar just resembles me rather than loss, it led to one final thought. If someone could find 100 reasons why I could be loved, there should be at least one more, right? I'm not just asking for more, but there should be at least one more. That jar contains me. It's not 100 handwritten notes. It is containing me. But even more importantly, that jar contains all the love I have. And I'm not saying this out of ego or arrogance that I'm very capable of loving, but I simply say it out of recognition. Loving is an inherent part of ourselves, as I stated. So everyone is capable of loving. And instead of seeing it as a vulnerability, see it as the greatest pursuit you can have. And think of that, all the people you love and how they affected you. Good or bad, or even if it doesn't look welcoming to think about it right now, you will realize that they teach you something. They are the reason why you grow every day. In TEDx speeches, ideas are worth sharing. And I don't think they're because worth sharing because they're flawless, but I think they're worth sharing because they're human, because they're relatable. And if I want to leave you with something here today, I want to leave you with this. Change does not erase your worth. Your capacity to love others will always remain the same. Perhaps it will grow even more. Loving means to see someone fully, to risk that change and to understand that nothing is guaranteed. But no, like, you already know that it's not guaranteed, but you still continue to love. So you become a risk taker. And becoming a risk taker will grow you like nothing else. Well, we really can't control what will change. We can't control who stays or which future will dissolve. But we can control one thing. We can control how we interpret change. We can choose to see it as destruction, or we can choose to see it as transformation, or an opportunity to give a TEDx speech. And I know that the future is unwritten, but it is not as scary as you think it is. Perhaps it is the most beautiful thing. And perhaps it is waiting for us to discover 101 reasons why we're ready for it. Thank you for listening to me.